Hey guys, Dan Heilman back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about Litecoin. We will give a market update on Bitcoin and some of the other coins and Bitcoin dominance in general. But the Litecoin videos are doing very well on the channel, so I'm going to continue to do those. So thanks for the support on those. I'll just kind of show you what I got going on here. But the Litecoin videos are doing very well on the channel, right? So we had this one right here, Litecoin Bull Flag, got 700 views, very nice. It seems like a lot of retail are not in the market right now, so the views are also a little bit lower. But if I just look at my videos, the ones that are covering Litecoin, this one did 1.2 thousand views, which was great. So we have some ETF news, not really news, but we have some deadlines coming up. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some price action on Litecoin. We are still inside of this bull flag that we've been forming, and unfortunately, literally as we broke out of the bull flag and retested the bottom, Trump decided to slam 50% tariffs on Europe, which caused literally everything to dump, and it took Litecoin with it. I swear to God. Trump sits here and just stares at it. You can see here again, this is exactly right when it happened. We hit a brand new all-time high, and then Trump said, yep, 50% tariffs, boom, and it got smashed right down. Now, my theory on this is it's almost too perfect to not be like almost stopping breakouts on the markets. I mean SPY, kind of the same thing, right? We were literally above the 2025 open and coming back down for the S&P 500, and then boom, tariffs got smashed. When was that tariff announcement? That was Friday. Trump basically literally right at the top just say, I'll be able to find it easily on the 4 hour. Yeah, here we go. Even on the 1 hour probably. So you can see, yeah, it was right here. We had Trump post saying, you know, look at this. We literally were going to make another run at an all-time high. And Trump was like, boom, 50% tariffs, and then blast straight down. And there's been a pattern with this. Every time Trump talks about tariffs, a lot of market makers take the chance to literally dump the price insane. When we had this massive dump. Let me go back to my clean chart so it's a little bit easier to see. But when we had all these big dumps, like this one especially, this was like the tariff stuff, right? And as soon as that happened, you know, market makers were basically dumping Bitcoin and all the altcoins as hard as they could. And obviously, tariffs have nothing to do with Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. I never finished my thought about my theory, but I feel like potentially Trump is trying to do this to cause a little bit of pain in the markets, to cause, you know, asset prices to come down a little bit, to eventually it will unfortunately make the unemployment rate spike as well, because when companies are not doing well, they have to lay off more people to get it a little bit more lean. And I think his goal is to get rates to come down. Again, the federal government needs to basically refinance all their debt because they have 80,000 billion trillion dollars of debt, and they're basically going to go bankrupt if we don't refinance at a lower rate. Rates are a little bit higher. If we go, even mortgage rates are up in the 6.87%. So I think we're trying to get the Fed rate to come down. And Jerome Powell basically said that we could cut them all the way down to 0.5%. So it almost seems like he's watching the charts. Oh, we're getting a breakout. Let's dump it down. Let's basically force Fed Powell to cut some rates, which would then in turn make all the markets pump extremely crazy. And, you know, I feel like a lot of things, Trump ties his own personal appearance to, you know, the markets, and maybe even specifically the cryptocurrency markets. He's doing pretty good for Bitcoin, but altcoins in general have just been absolutely hammered. You can see Bitcoin dominance has been trending up for quite some time on the weekly chart. I mean, we are almost breaking out of this channel again. I still do expect this to top somewhere about 66%. You can see kind of this trend line that we've been following for a while, and you can see both of these trend lines kind of come in here. So, and that makes sense. You know, we're narrowing a little bit. In the beginning, Bitcoin dominance was extremely high because it was one of the first, you know, cryptocurrencies. So it started way up here. And then now as more altcoins enter the space, you can see, you know, Bitcoin dominance comes down, and then in the bear markets, Bitcoin dominance comes up again, and then it dumps during altcoin season. And then, you know, it's kind of just oscillating here, but it is getting more and more narrow, which does make sense, right? So, I mean, we could even go all the way up to here again, 72%, but that would be extremely brutal for altcoins. I don't think that's really my base case. I think Again, we have this fib right here, this 0.786 at 66%. So, but anyways, that's my market update there for the day on Bitcoin. I'll focus rest on Litecoin here. I was kind of expecting Bitcoin to come back down into this channel. We have a bear moon coming. So this will affect everything. It's not 100%. It doesn't always work, but it's very correlated. If you've never seen these moon phases, it sounds kind of funny, but they kind of correlate with cycle lows and, you know, a lot of the cycles. And it's interesting when you get this bear moon, which is this blue one here, you can see the price usually either moves sideways or goes down. You can see here's a good example of down. This one down a couple of days later, this one down, this one, it didn't do much. The bull moon, which is this white moon, does a lot more for price action. You can see here's a bull moon and that was a 15% pump. Here's a bull moon that started literally right here and that was a 10% pump. Here's a bull moon right here that was a 9% pump. So the bull moons definitely help. This was a really big one. You can see here 22% pump from the bull moon. This one did not pan out. So obviously it doesn't always pan out. And if there's resistance above, you know, sometimes the bull moon won't really do anything. But we have a bear moon that could play out. We could see some downside. Another interesting thing is, if we go look at Litecoin now, we'll talk about Litecoin. So we have the bear moon coming and we're expecting a cycle low in this window. So in the next 1, 2, 3 days, the bear moon comes tomorrow on Monday and the markets are closed on Monday. So, I mean, that doesn't affect crypto that much, but that will affect some of the markets. We are expecting this to come down and bottom. Now, another kind of interesting thing is I'll talk about if we just pull a fib channel. So if you go here, fib retracement, go from top to bottom. Another Fibonacci level right here at about $90 coincides perfectly with the bottom of this channel. So let me just go to my clean chart again. I'll just clean it up a little bit. So we have the cycle low coming soon. We're actually at the bottom right now of the bull market support bands. So this is another set of moving averages. So we made above it, and then unfortunately now we're kind of going back below it. We're actually holding support on the bottom, and that has been the case for a while. So if we do break down from this, I expect we're either going to test this 90 right here, which is the 0.618 fib from this last move, or we're going to retest kind of this channel. You can see we have a lot of channels here. We have a 0.5 fib down here. So there's this range here between $90 and about $84. If we do get a pullback into there, I will be probably adding to my Litecoin position. I took a little bit off the top right in here, just a tiny bit. I closed a little bit of my position because we got some things happening. We got the bear moon. We got Trump deciding he wants to do more tariff wars with everyone on earth. So that is another thing. And we also have the Bitcoin conference. Sometimes the price goes up towards the Bitcoin conference and then it'll come back down. Some people are thinking we could see some summer lows as well. So sometimes we bleed during the summer. But another interesting thing is the Litecoin to Bitcoin pair here. So if you look at this pair, the Camel Finance indicator is also saying we have a low coming. You can see last time we had a low right here. That was a 22% move. A lot of these here, this one was a really big move. That was like a 75% move. This one right here was a 48% move. This daily cycle low was a 79% move. So we saw some very large moves when this Camel Finance indicator picked some bottoms. We have another daily low almost confirmed here. What we could see, usually, you know, we're getting, this is like the last day, right? I'm on the daily chart. So this is the last day tomorrow for this indicator to find a bottom. So it could find a bottom here on support. It could even drop down to here, which would be a 5% drop. And that would kind of correlate potentially with what I was talking about here. So if we see a 5% drop here, where's that put us? It puts us right at the bottom. It puts us right at the bottom of this level. It puts us right at the 0.618 at $90. So if you are looking to re-up and get some more Litecoin, you could definitely put some orders at 90. I would, if you want to make sure it gets hit, I'd put it at like 90.9 or something, or even 91. If you want to make sure to get the order filled, you could potentially get an order filled at about 88 if you're looking to add some to your position. Again, I am extremely bullish on Litecoin. That's why I keep talking about it so much. I think we have a massive potential for Litecoin to hit $900+. And I know that might sound like a ridiculous target because that's, you know, a 10 to even 11x from here. But I want to talk about why I think that. So if we go look at into the cryptoverse, this is a paid prescription. This is a paid prescription. And if you go look at Litecoin, which has a very good confidence rating according to Ben Cohen, really smart dude. I've been watching him for quite some time. But basically, he has the price going to about $991. So, and every time we've hit that one risk in every cycle for Litecoin. So that's quite interesting. That is very, very interesting. And you can see right now, it's actually not that high of a risk. Usually if you buy anywhere below like 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, you're going to do really well. And you can always sell up in the 0.9 range. Even a 0.9 would be $632. So that's a huge pump from right now. And you can see the risk right now is 0.45. So as I was saying, if it goes anywhere near 67, I mean, that's like bear market numbers, right? So this is like, if you can get Litecoin for $45, you'd be, you know, ecstatic. But I mean, look at the chance of right that. So you hit that in the bottom of the bear market. So I don't think we're there. Again, we have this big range here, right? So this is like kind of the range I'm looking at, right? So we're closer to the bottom of the range than we are at the top, right? So I think even if we have full economic collapse, World War III, whatever, I mean, I think Litecoin's only going to go down max 50%, but the upside is huge, right? So just going to the last all-time high is 330%. And then if we're looking up to that $900 range, which I think could easily happen at the end of this year or beginning of next year, that is 883% pump. So that's why I'm hugely bullish on Litecoin. And another reason is if you look at the next important dates for Litecoin ETF, actually tomorrow, there is more news on the CoinShares Litecoin ETF. Posts on X indicate that the SEC is likely to delay it. Yeah, it could definitely delay it. And that would also correspond to my guess that Litecoin might come down a little bit and test the bottom of that channel again. So if it gets delayed, sometimes we see some sell-offs, and that would correlate right here. You can see we have this big range that we've been playing out in, and again, we could come down to $90, which is the bottom of this small bull flag that I have been printing here. So you can see we've been bouncing along in this bull flag, and this is a standard bull flag. And we finally broke out, retested, and of course Trump said, "See you guys, tariff war." And then another interesting thing though is we do seem to be kind of, it looks like we're almost bottoming here. So usually when you break out of these channels, what happens first is you don't make it to the bottom of the channel. So this is another interesting thing, right? Because this could mean we're already trying to get out of here, right? And that would also correspond with us bottoming on the Litecoin Bitcoin pair. So that's kind of my two scenarios that I have for Litecoin right now. Maybe this is showing strength because we have a potential ETF approval tomorrow. That would be insane. And that would, I think, just rocket us right out of this channel. Now, we are having trouble getting to the bottom of this channel. However, that did happen here. So you can see we almost made it to the bottom, top, and then we finally hit the bottom. So I don't know, two scenarios. We either turn around and go straight up from here. Now, that would be probably the less likely scenario because I have a feeling we'll get the ETF delayed again tomorrow. And then we probably come back down. Maybe we hit the bottom of this channel. Maybe we hit that 90-day. Maybe we try to fake below it a little bit, and then we're going to come back out of here. Again, we have the bear moon coming for everything on Monday as well. Now, another thing that's happening, that's not what I wanted to show you, is, if I can find it, there we go. So I asked Grok, what altcoin ETF do you think will be the first to be approved by the SEC? Now, it was very clear on the answer, right? It said Litecoin, absolutely, right? Bloomberg, ETF analyst, blah, 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 have estimated a 90% chance of approval for the Litecoin ETF in 2025, citing its similarity to Bitcoin. That is another reason why I'm so massively bullish on Litecoin. Is it is very, very, very similar to Bitcoin, right? It has almost all the same properties. It has a huge mining base. It has a limited amount of coins, but it has faster transactions and cheaper transactions. So it's actually the most used cryptocurrency that there is. You know, it's used very often for transferring. I use it to transfer between exchanges all the time because it's so extremely quick and it's dirt cheap. And it also has some privacy features. So it's kind of cool. It has some things that Bitcoin don't have. So, but it's clear classification as a commodity, which simplifies its regulatory path compared to other altcoins like Solana and XRP, right? So contenders include Dogecoin, 75%, Solana 70, XRP 65, because it's also, you know, XRP is very centralized and, you know, it's got regulatory hurdles because it's not a commodity, right? So Bitcoin and Litecoin are commodities and they're very similar. And these could be securities, meaning, you know, here you go, due to ongoing debates about their security status. So interesting, 90% approval. I'm super bullish on Litecoin for a very long time now. I've been a long time holder from 2017. And I think this is going to be the year. I think this is really going to be the year for Litecoin. I think we'll get an ETF approval and I think we'll see some massive price action. I think that's what's going to propel us up to those $990 levels. I have a massive trade open right now. If you want to try any leverage trading, I have links below to BYDFi, to Bitunix, and to BTCC. So I'll just kind of show you my Bitunix trade going on right now. I took just a tiny bit off the table here. So let's talk about it. Here's my Litecoin trade. Again, I'm looking for at least $899. If I can make it up there, that is $737,000 profit. I have my stop loss extremely low. I don't think we're going anywhere near $39, but just so I don't have some scam wick that gets my entire account liquidated or something, I have a stop loss there. So again, I'm predicting at least 900 bucks. That would be $737,000 of profit if you want to trade Bitunix, BYDFi, whatever you want to try out. I really love Bitunix. It's a great exchange, and I use BTCC for trading stock commodities, gold, you know, different stocks, mining stocks, etc. Links below. That's the best way to support the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will continue to make videos on Litecoin because they're doing very well, and it seems people really appreciate the videos on Litecoin. So if you did, hit that like button, press that subscribe button, and leave a comment below. What are your thoughts? Yeah, that's it for the video. Have a great day. Enjoy the holiday. See you guys.